You only doing it with the phone? Okay, so hang up. Okay, bye bye. I know. Um, Hello again. Hello again. There
Oh,
you
wait.
are.
Oh, there we go.
There we
Okay. How do
go.
I have to
I need
hold
like a
on. I
kiddie
have to push it.
cushion.
Um,
Thank
where can I
you,
put that?
pinch hitter Mary McDonald.
Hold on. Sorry. Let
Take
me
your
see.
time.
I have to lean this on something like a weirdo,
I
like an
agree.
old-fashioned weirdo. Okay, good. Oh, wow.
Hey,
My hair does not look great here. Okay.
I think you look gorgeous as
Oh,
you
thank you.
always do.
That's very,
Hi.
thank you.
Okay,
How are
Mary,
you?
well, I know that you and I have done something in this capacity. I don't think we've done it for 52, have we?
I don't even know. Okay.
I
Like,
know,
I
isn't
don't.
that great? We hit a certain age where we're like, I don't
Does
know.
your
It's all new
does
again.
your memory work? Mine doesn't. I was like, who are you?
Hello, brunette woman. Do we know
I'm
each
just
other?
like, why am I here?
Because you're a
That's a
dear
mistake in my
friend.
memory. So I
And
don't know if we did.
and Layden Lewis is going to be doing it on Tuesday. So there you have. And wave to everybody waving. So Mary,
Yes.
I would love to talk to you, obviously, about all things design, about how you got started, where you went to school, all that stuff. And then I also want to talk to you about TV. You down with that?
What TV? Sure.
Okay, so
TV.
first, how did you get started and where did you go to school and when did you begin?
I did not go to school for interior design.
Nor did I, no judgment.
You didn't? But
No,
you lived it.
yes, I
I
had
mean,
a
you don't even
I was
count.
I had a
Your
resident professor.
your your total design loyalty, that's different. Maybe I can put it here. It seems low. Oh, okay, here.
I like it.
Uh,
We are your
um,
supplicants.
I went to Boston University for art history. You know, when you don't know what to do, you're just like,
Yeah.
well, art's pretty. So, but I really wanted to be a fashion designer. And my
And
mother told me I had to
you
go to,
wear amazing clothes, I must say.
oh, thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. You
You
know,
always look
I don't
amazing.
know if I really wear so much amazing clothes. I just have a knack for putting things together, which I mean,
Yeah,
am I allowed to say that about myself?
absolutely. Own your expertise,
Um,
Mary.
um, because I actually really love just style. You know how you see
Yeah.
stylish people, and
Yes.
this is gonna sound terrible or funny or not at all, but let me just get myself in trouble. Sometimes you see someone that's like kind of down and out on the street, and they're like kind of a stylish homeless person.
Good.
No, but listen,
I give up. No, she did not say that. We will just move along.
you have to
We'll get you in
understand.
trouble.
There's like style is like this intangible thing. It is not about money.
True.
It is
Oh,
not.
true.
That's my
But
point. Like, there's people that like have.
it is for those people who have style to let the rest of us, that's why they design for us, because they just have a knack of how to put it together. And then we can just say, okay, I can't make these decisions myself. It's too overwhelming. I'm just going to wear what XYZ is putting out because I love their style. So if there was a Mary McDonald fashion line, I would definitely buy from it.
I
Definitely.
I
I
would
would
love to do
wear it
that.
horribly, though.
Well, I actually went to Parsons for a few years for fashion. I I was one of those young people that had a new idea every 5 minutes, where
Yeah,
much to
well,
my mother's chagrin, I was one of those people when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a, a bride, a model. Like I thought these were
yeah,
careers because they
yeah.
involved outfits. A
Right.
nurse.
That's
So it
interesting.
didn't really end until I was like 30, where I was like, I could just pick something. So I studied that, and I actually had a successful career unintentionally, specifically as a milliner, but I ended up being kind of a known milliner in my 20s, which was
I
something
love
I
that.
just started because do you remember? I think you're a little younger than I am, but do you remember in the 80s, like 1980 to 90, like people actually wore hats, like out? Do you
I
remember
mean,
this with like flowers and
well,
you
I
don't?
I have some hats. I will not lie. I believe that I look great in a hat, and I wore a hat to the office once, and Markham Roberts, who was working there, called me Blossom, and then I never wore that.
Oh, no, well, that wasn't kind of where I was going with
my
it.
father always, you know, if the weather was inclement, he had his hat and he wore it well. So yeah, I love that.
It was a weird time. It was during the time of Christian Lacroix. There was a hat and shoe designer named Philippe Model. Do you remember Philippe Model? You probably don't.
No.
How old are you? Like
Late
I'm not allowed to
40s.
ask.
Late 40s.
Late 40s. Yeah, so you probably just missed it. I remember my late 40s.
So anyway, so
people
when
say
did
to
you
me, "You're
say-
never going to
when
be
did you
younger
say-
than you are today."
when did you say I want to do rooms? How old were you?
Someone asked me because I was always interested in
So cool.
interiors. It was my second thing that I loved. Funny enough, you know Eric Hughes. He's also a designer now.
No.
Nathan Turner's
yes, of course I
boyfriend.
do. Yes, I do.
Tall
Yes, of
Eric.
course.
He's a
Of course,
known public designer. Well, we've known each other since we were 16. So I'm going to go off on like 50 million tangents. So
Okay.
fast and
Take me with you.
So we used to pour through decorating magazines, like House and Garden in the 80s. We would always say, what if we were decorators? I love the term decorator. I guess it's not considered,
I use both. I totally use both.
I do too.
Yeah.
So I was always interested. I literally knew who everybody was, but I was in fashion. So what happened was, even when I went away to college at Boston University with my first disgusting dorm room, it was so gross. It looked like a jail cell, and I had one side of the room, and Lori Hames had the other. And I decorated my one side. So it was always just part of.
And what did you decorate it? What did it look like?
I mean, I had this Steinberg lithograph. Do you remember Steinberg? And it was, I don't know, it was like a street scene, and it was black and white and red. It was super Devo.
Okay, so that I would have absolutely guessed black and white and red.
Yes. And my side of the room, now that I think about it, it was so corny, but it was like decorated, like it might be in a corny magazine. What to do. And our walls were cinder block painted.
I had the same kind of.
And I think I painted in the grout black, so it was a checker. It was the pattern of the grout, but cool. Black and white. And I can't even remember, but whatever I did, I just did all things black and white and red and black and white and red. It was very We Are Devo. We Are Devo.
Totally.
Okay, so then I had and then the next year I moved out. So anyway, even when I was young, I would do what it kind of took to make your apartment.
It mattered.
Cool. So I literally lived across the street from Parsons when I was studying fashion. That did not make me any earlier to class. It actually made me later. I would just look at the clock and be like, it's starting now.
Yes, and you have all the time in the world.
Yes. So, I mean, my apartment then, my mother did give me some money to do some things. And, but I literally dragged off the street, like, some Pierre Dude chairs. Anyway, so like I did what it took to kind of make your space look good when you're young. Yeah. Like I would paint my walls. I could sew curtains.
It goes back to what you said about fashion. In that moment, you were doing, you were having style as opposed to pedigreed pieces. It just looks good. You're putting good looking things together.
Well, I did steal these paintings from my mother that she spent 2 years at this Harold Lloyd auction when I was young, and she had all this stuff in storage. And I did steal some things from her. So I did get to have a few fancy things, but I would literally have junk. Even to this day, when people have no money, I tell them to do certain things that are super easy.
That are achievable.
It's achievable. Instead of they'll show me a picture of some really fancy room, and I'm just like, okay, back away from that picture. Let's get something that looks good. Now, you know, and I'm not even
Yeah.
opposed to people getting cool things at IKEA or
Yeah,
like
of course.
high, low. I'm always looking, even myself. I mean, I buy weird things. So you asked me a
Right.
question.
And
How
nobody
did I
should
get
be
started?
punished if they don't have the budget.
No, I mean,
Yeah, style
it's
is for everybody.
easy
Style is
to
very
work.
democratic.
Yes. I mean, if you really have style, you can figure so many things out. That was my point about that person I talked about on the street. Stylish. Sometimes like, you got style, man. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But right, what's the expression? Game knows game.
game knows game. Yeah,
Game
kind
knows game.
of. Like someone's got like a bandana on their arm. Like some stuff where I'm like, you're stylish. Like, you go. So how did I get started? I literally decorated my houses. So
Where
in
are we
my
now?
late
Are we in New
20s
York now, or are we in California?
I actually had I was doing both for a little bit,
Mhm.
but I really lived in New York in all my 20s, mainly.
Yeah.
And at my late 20s, I was halfway back in California for certain family reasons. And a friend of mine who ran Robert Clergerie PR, she was their PR for Robert Clergerie, had moved out here. This is such a great thing. She somehow was their main PR person, and on the sly was a producer, and they didn't even know about it, and moved out here. It makes me laugh now because it's over. I don't think that's over, so she won't care.
Yeah.
Like, she kept this huge business running and was like, I'm going to be in Hollywood. So she moved to this famous building out here called the El Royale. That is an old Hollywood kind of pedigreed building for us out here. I mean, you know, pedigreed is it's from the 20s and they didn't tear it down. And she's always liked how I had my apartments and my homes. And by then I'd had a home in Benedict Canyon, a little house with my boyfriend. And she said, would you ever help me decorate my house? And I said, sure. And to this day, I took pictures of it, not really knowing where this would go. And I'm telling you, it was on a budget. I have some pictures that are prettier than some huge jobs I've done, but they were just going awry because, like, the lady of the house was insistent. You know, the jobs that just
Well, and also some projects are beautiful to be in, but don't translate to photography either. You know,
well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, okay,
you're talking about ugly.
I'm talking about it's fine. That's fine. Let's stop fighting about this. Go ahead. Let me make your dreams come true.
Yeah.
So, you know, things that had really big budgets. Yes, true. So funny enough, she asked me to do it. And then people started just asking me to do it. But this was not out of the blue. I literally spent a lot of time. I have pictures of my first home when I was 29 with my boyfriend then. And I took pictures of it because it was like, I really decorated it, but that wasn't really my profession. And, you know, some stuff's kind of corny because you look back. Well, you probably don't have this. Well, your dad was Mark Hampton, so he'd be like,
no, but I mean, he let me do whatever I wanted in his and my mother's apartment. And sometimes that was, you know, it went from all black walls and David Bowie posters to Dusty Rose.
Oh, Dusty Rose.
And the Lee a la Polonaise. The Lee a la Polonaise was cool, but the Dusty Rose, I think my father puked a little in his mouth. I think he was like
Dusty Rose,
and then let me do it.
With a little.
He told me it was like looked like a whorehouse.
Oh, did he? It sounds Laura Ashley to me.
It was,
which I like.
It was much more whorehouse than whorehouse.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember how huge Laura Ashley was?
Oh, sure.
Do you remember that?
But I was never. There's something
a flower girl,
lousy and romantic and feminine about that does not jibe with my. You know, I think I have a more book design true north than I do frilly.
Well, you have a true kind of Greco-Roman classicism.
Right. I had to marry a Greek to justify my previous.
Oh yeah, you really do have a true Greco-Roman classicism.
But I feel like you and I share a lot of loves. There are lots of things.
We do. I love
both
one
love.
of those last. I love your kind of Bill Blass. I call it a Bill Blass thing because of that
and when I look at your painted floors and your high contrast, we're very simpatico.
This is true. Well, thank you. That's such a compliment that you're allowing yourself to
Hardly. I look at your
equate.
stuff. I'm like, damn. I wish I could do that.
That's so nice. Well, you can. Well, by the way, I'm buying some of your consoles. That pair of consoles I love. I'm buying them for my project. I love them, and I'm going to buy them for my new house. I bought a house in upstate New York.
Oh my God!
I'm going to buy
pictures.
I know. Well, you haven't seen inside because I haven't done anything.
But it's amazing. It's like a real.
It is honking. It is. It is such. Well, it's not small.
You have grounds.
I have 35 acres. Come. I don't know what there is to do there. I had to have it. No, you could come. There's a ton of bedrooms. It's just not decorated yet. So I can only have people that just bring tequila and laugh about that.
Will you promise me to photograph it a bazillion times during the process?
Yes, I already have.
Okay, because I want to see
I've taken
not just before and after, but I want to see everywhere in between.
Well, I'm not tearing it down, so
no, I know.
It's not like
I just want to see
how the studs. Well, I will. Yes, I'll show you. I'll show you things.
Okay, so
you asked me how to get started. So people ask me.
You get sucked into this design business because you are a woman of style, and your style permeates everything. What you wear, how you live. You're really faithful to being stylish, and therefore we're absorbed into it. When did you open your business? When did you say, okay, well, this is it. This is how I'm going to support myself?
It wasn't an instantaneous thing because I was still doing hats. And it kind of over a few years, people just started to ask me to do it. And I was like, wait, okay, so this is working.
Did you charge your friend when you helped her that time?
I think like nothing, so little. Like I think it was like gas money. I mean,
right.
I was so I can't
pay
remember.
For your dinner when you come over.
She said, "I insist on paying you." I don't know. I'm sure. I think I did. It was a real job. I think she insisted. I mean, maybe it was a lot of money to both of us at the time, but I sort of think about it. I can't remember what it was. It was not. The job was a very. And I cared so much about making it look good. I wouldn't have even wanted to take. Like it was she needed a dining room and a guest bedroom and a bedroom and a living room. When you're young, that eats up all your money. But I took a few I had someone take pictures because I thought I had been thinking about it because I was disillusioned with my millinery career, but it really worked. Like I was in Vogue and Bazaar and like it was working. Of course. It was so financially difficult. I'm really not a good business person. I'm not an irresponsible person, but wanting to be in the structure of a business and growing it and the mental kind of like you have to think of it as this entity that grows and you have to have all these people and like I still don't like that. I don't like I'm really like an art teacher that just
it's not the yummy part of it.
It's actually it's so not yummy to me that it's why I just only want to stay at a certain size. It's just not natural to me. So
though I met somebody once who had taken a designer who had taken some sort of course that was, when she described it to me, it sounded tremendously legit. And she said studies had been done and the best size for a design firm is 7 people. And I was like
5 is my master. I can't take it. 7.
Yeah, no, but I was surprised that it wasn't 35 or,
Like I can't even consider things that are like 20. Martin loves an employee. Martin Bullard.
How many people are in his office?
I don't know. 25. He loves this. He loves the stress of an employee. I laugh with him. I was like, "How do you do this?" He goes, "Darling, I don't even know." Like, he's like juggling plates and he throws one in, and he just like, "Give me another one." That's just a type of person.
For sure.
So where I'm going. How did I decide to do that? Well, you know, a weird thing happened where I saw it as a sign from God. I think it was 2001, 2000. Well, people asked me to photograph some places I had lived. Um, and so I was like, okay. So I
What do
think
you mean by people?
like like the LA Times wanted to photograph something, and the LA Times magazine then wanted to do something because my friend worked there on this house I lived in. I'm actually mad I never really took professional pictures of this really pretty house I lived in Hancock Park. And I lived for a couple years across from Joel Chen. Do you remember Joel Chen? Do you know Joel Chen? Do you ever buy from Joel Chen?
Joel Chen.
JF Chen? You never bought
JF Chen, I do know.
JF Chen? Yeah, that's Joel.
Yeah.
I worked for Joel when I was I worked for an antique dealer for like 1 year, kind of in between
Where?
this. I wanted to do kind of around when someone asked me to do their house because I wanted to get out of hats, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I was really like, okay, you're in your later 20s. If you're going to switch something. In fact, Joel Schumacher, the director, was friends with Ralph Lauren, and he was going to get me an internship to go work at Ralph.
Which is very much like
I wish I did that, but my mother.
Many people have come out of that, and I too am jealous not to have had that.
I went and met with different people, and my mother ended up passing away suddenly, and so I left my apartment in New York and didn't end up doing that. But that was another choice. I was like, do I just go see what these big businesses are like and just go? Anyway, so I was kind of in the middle of a salad of not really knowing. And then she asked me to do her house. I worked for Joel, just wanting to see antiques and interiors. So this was not like out of left field. It was an interest that was always in me, like neck and neck. What happened was my friend, a production designer, said, you know, House and Garden is looking for a house to photograph. And I had finished this house up in the Hollywood Hills that was my own. And he goes, can I just send in pictures? And I said, sure. It hadn't I never put all these pieces together like, oh, you try to get published. I mean, I saw it.
But it's nice to hear that it happened organically. I like this.
Yes, it didn't. Well, yes, it did. And so he gave it to them. And Ingrid Abramovich, that's where I met Ingrid.
Mm-hmm.
I think she submitted it, and they ended up putting it on the cover and gave me the Well article, and I was doing it, but I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be doing this. And, you know, people just started calling me, and then I got 3 covers that year. Never again. That was like a weird thing, and never again. I was
everybody listening to this hates you.
Well, don't worry. It never happened again for 20 years. So,
still,
I mean,
that's
not that
amazing.
I never got another cover. It's just nothing ever happened. And it was like,
but you arrived
it's
there
like I was prom queen, and it's just like, and then I actually, and so really, it just was a progression of things
and then
that
you
were
got
organic.
hijacked by the field, which is great. So you shut down the millinery, and you were like, this is it. This is the sign from God that this is my path.
Yes.
So that's so interesting. So you never even worked for another designer, so you didn't know the method. You had to learn it all on your own.
I did do errands for. Do you know Key Hall that runs Count It Out?
No.
No.
Yes?
Oh,
I don't know. Me and names is just terrible.
Well, who knows? For like a brief few months, my aunt was also a decorator, so I knew the design center because I remember thinking when I was little, she'd have these glamorous bags. I mean, you know, she was just a local decorator that I honestly feel like she just did it because she had great taste. But she sort of just did it to have her hands in something. It wasn't like
that's great.
Big business.
Yeah, but that's great.
All these things do affect you, you know, what you see when growing up. And so, no, I did not work for anybody. In fact, it's very hard when you think, is how this is supposed to go? You know, you've got to call people.
I can't even imagine how difficult that was. And, you know, I never had to set up anything because
it's still difficult. I go, is this
Yeah.
how it's supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Is
Do other people deal with this
this how?
crap?
Yeah, yes. I go, is this how this happens? So you do find out more and more. There are people I can call and go, does this happen to you? Some say, no, don't do it. This you're always learning, and then things are changing so much. I mean,
Yeah.
There's so much technology and information. I mean, I'm never going to catch up, so I'm just going to stick
Well,
with
I
it.
remember when there was a fax machine, when the fax machine was first installed in my father's office. I was interning, and we were all like, ooh, it's a fax. This will never catch on. This is stupid.
Do you remember? Do you remember the paper would disappear after the writing?
And it would like roll.
No. If you kept the original fax paper too long,
yeah. Then it was just so fragile and delicate.
It would fade away. The writing would fade away. Like it would be like disappearing ink. Do you remember this? Yeah.
I remember it being like flimsy and yeah. Or you'd load the paper wrong and it would come out as like an echocardiogram.
I'm still sort of fascinated by a fax. I like a fax.
You like a fax?
I mean, once in a while.
I'll fax you later.
Once in a while, I have to fax somebody. We still have a fax in our
on the dark side of the moon.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
yes.
Once in a while, is there a point? Like I consider you in the design firmament. Clearly, everyone would. Was there a moment where you felt like I'm in?
Yes. You know what happens? There's moments that feel like I'm in, and then they honestly sometimes go like, I guess I'm not in. Like, yeah. Go up and down. I think things were easier for me in the beginning. So when would that moment feel like I'm in? I think the excitement when you are first doing it and you first get published in like good magazines, I think there was nothing like that. It's like you're a fresh canvas that feels
that you can only go up from there.
Yes. And then when you're in, I think there were little increment things that were made it in different ways. I think getting licensing lines and then seeing people actually.
And your book?
Oh, my book. Yes,
beautiful
I love
book.
the book. Thank you so much. I have been threatening to do another one, but like I just keep.
I think you have to. I think it's past time.
I do. I've been threatening. I just have to. I've like some things I want to get in it, and I just have to. You know how getting some photographs. It's like just. So, was there a moment? I think there's more been just moments. I think certain things came to me from being on TV that were unusual.
Like, okay, so let's talk about that. When the show first came out, and it was called, what was it called?
$1 Million Wackadoodles.
Okay, yes, $1 Million
Decorator
or designer. I would watch it. First of all, I love the production values. It was really beautifully filmed. But I would watch it.
Yes.
And if I felt that the client was looking, crazy, or maybe Catherine Ireland was talking badly about a client, it stressed me out so much that I had to turn it off. I was like, oh my God, what's the client going to say when they see this?
I tried not to. Yes.
No, you didn't. But like I said, your client who was going through a divorce, and it just made me really
I know, but to be honest,
nervous.
I knew she was. This happened literally right when I was on it, so it was a shock. But she kind of knew I was going to say that. Like, I didn't do anything someone didn't really like. Wasn't sort of aware.
No, and I think everybody loved the show because it did have some of the energy of the things that happen on a job, but it was just like total eye candy.
That was
brave. How did you Did you just say I'm just going to go for it? Why the hell not? I mean,
do you know what's really weird? The producers of that top design show wanted me to be the host, and they gave me like those, I don't know, screen tests or whatever they're called.
Auditions.
Yes, and I think the producers were maybe magical elves. So they gave me these, but they had said, and I thought that was cool to do because it was really design, and I had already had my book deal, and I think I had my Schumacher deal coming. And they said, no one really knows who you are. So they went with India, which I totally get why. And I'm sorry, this is like...
And in the grand scheme, this is interesting too, because if you did that, you weren't plotting your trajectory. But in the end, it makes much better sense that you did what you did because you actually got jobs out of it, right?
Oh yes, I did. Actually, people called me from all over the world, to be honest. Like some big people I can't even say.
Right.
I did. But people might have, I don't know what would have happened with that, but I didn't mind doing that. I thought, well, that's cool. I could be the host on that as a designer. But I didn't end up getting that. And I thought, I would do something on TV if it were design related.
Correct.
And weren't too weird and corny. So Nathan Turner says, do you want to, I'm going auditioning for this show and they're looking for a woman. Do you want to go on it? It's a reality show. And I was like, oh God, no, I don't think so. He says, just go down there. You can always say no. And my book agent was Joe Cohen at the time. She goes, just go, just say no. And then you've met the people if you want to call them again. Like if you want to, by the way, that is great advice for anyone listening.
Like, even if it's something you don't want to do, go and meet the people.
Yes, where I was like, you're right. I'll just say no. And so knowing I was never going to do it, I went and talked to Britt Lovett, who was one of the producers. And I just acted like my total self, thinking, well, I'm never going to be this person because I'm not doing this. But she asked me a million questions. I was like, oh, and I just told her the truth of like the good, the bad, the ugly of design, like things I wouldn't say normally.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know. I think they were like trying to set me up with people at the end of it. I was like, this is so strange. So I left and she called me.
Wait, you mean romantically?
Yes. It was very like she was so like into me that but it was because I had zero agenda because I wasn't doing, remember? I was like, I'm not doing this.
But you were totally sincere.
And I was just myself. So I left and she called me like in 5 minutes. She goes, okay, so we want you. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, well, I'm not, oh wait, they actually picked me. I back paddled for a week of like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just don't think I can do it. I realized I was like, being on a reality show is like, let's be honest. Look at reality shows. People act insane. And
they're not pretty to watch. Whereas your show was beautifully crafted. It was beautifully, the title credits, all of that was beautiful.
Oh, well, was our producer, Rich Bai. So I can credit him. He could have put so much more ugly stuff on there that like went on behind the scenes that he didn't.
Yeah.
So Britt, who
he sold you ice, didn't he?
It's a woman.
Oh.
And I said, I'm sorry, I don't really want like my personality out there because it doesn't really match my interiors. Like it doesn't really match my interiors.
I feel that 100%.
Oh, and it doesn't. Your personality does not match your interiors at all. So I thought this isn't going to be helpful. People will mistake this or that or anyway, I don't know how. I was so wound up about it. And you know what got me to say yes? So at the time I had my book deal already. So I was like so excited. I was like, I'm going to have a book. And like everybody didn't have a book then. Like I think you had a book.
Yeah.
It was like,
well, I think you and I came out at exactly the same time.
But yeah, maybe. I remember I loved your cover. I was like, did she get to pick her cover? I didn't really get to pick, all these whiny things. Like my inside lining doesn't match at the last minute. But Jill Cohen, my book agent, said to me, I keep telling people they asked me to be on the show, that everybody's bragging. All the people were talking about it. I was like,
Yeah.
they asked me to be on it. And everyone was like, oh, please, they did not. And I was just like, it made me so mad. Jill goes, listen, Jill Cohen,
Yeah.
goes, listen, everybody wants to be on TV. If you aren't on TV, don't cry about it later. If you don't do it now, you're going to want to be on it in 5 years, and you're going to wonder why I didn't do that. Because everybody calls me to be on TV. Everyone asks me, how can I be on TV? How can I be on TV? So I was like, really? So I had a few things going, and then I had a little bit of like, okay, people, yes, they did ask me to be on it. Yes, they did.
I'll prove it.
Yes, they did. So, there was a whole...
And you had all these friends who did it.
Well, Nathan, to be honest, none of us were friends except Nathan and I. That's just we're friends.
It turned into a friendship after that.
Yeah, we're not friends. I cannot speak for any of these other reality shows, but I don't think when these people go into it, almost any of them are friends. That's just me not speaking. I'm not being the expert about reality shows.
It's not MTV's Real World, obviously. I mean, you're not tossed together. You sort of parallel track. You're all
we made friends, and maybe didn't make friends. But I ended up being friends with Martin.
Who's adorable.
So anyway, did I do it? It was. Someone told me, actually, Sarah Jessica Parker told me, she goes, if you don't say it, they can't use it. That's my advice to you. So I was like, oh, if you don't say it, they can't use it. So in the back of my mind, I thought it was so easy to be tripped up and say something that could really get you in trouble. I tried to never badmouth. If you really look at it, I really didn't say anything bad about my colleagues.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's not like Catherine was trashing anyone. It just made me nervous. Just a whole,
She actually trashed me. She said things that were not nice, but she's, you know what? Who cares?
Made for good TV.
Yes. It's made for good TV. So, but I just didn't want to participate in that reality show. They love it. Like, producers love it if you're going to get into it on camera.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to find a way to just not ever do it. In fact, I had some people that were on it that were trying to goad me to get in an argument to make me look bad. And I just acted like I didn't hear them and would talk about the glass because they don't want to, the producers don't use something this is just a waste of our time because it's going nowhere, and every minute on TV costs a bunch of money. So there's a trick to doing reality shows. You just don't get involved in anything that's icky.
I want to ask you. Yeah, I've got so many questions for you. And while I'm doing that, I am texting my son.
You're sewing. While I'm doing it, I'm needle pointing.
No, I'm trying to get my son to get my
mother.
charger.
My mother
because these Instagrams just suck the charge out of my iPad.
Oh.
I wanted to ask you, now that you started in fashion, you've gone to design, you are a major designer. You do beautiful work. You have your lines at Schumacher, which are beautiful.
Thank you.
You have your furniture at Chaddock, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
And I think it would sort of be fun if you also did fashion now. Because you are one of those people. You're one of those people who I look at what you wear just on a daily basis, and I feel so depressed about how little effort I put in and what a sad result I get.
That's not true. You don't. I mean,
it's fine. It's not my thing, but I think it'd be really fun, and I think that your fashion sense is also evergreen. I think somebody who is 25 would want to wear it, and somebody older would want to wear it because it's just really good looking.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate that. Fashion
really
is
happen to
a
believe
hard
it.
business.
And jewelry. I think you could do jewelry too.
Jewelry would be easier than things that involve sizes and pattern making. And I can feel in
I need
myself
my
if I
iPad
were to
charger.
start that, it would just be stuff under my bed. And I'd be like, yeah, I have some samples dressed. But I could do jewelry. I could do jewelry. That actually, I thought about it. I just don't want
Hold
to
on a
start.
second.
Oh,
Will you get my charger? It's on my bedside. Bye. Sorry, my son is saving my tuckus. Um, but yeah,
well, thank you. I
you could
appreciate
start
that.
with jewelry, and then I do think if
Where are we
anybody's ready,
selling this? Maybe you could just be the partner.
what? I'll be the client. I'll be the purchaser.
I know I need a partner. I want to lie down. I need to lie down. That's why I bought my green acre house. I'm going to the country to grow tomatoes.
But obviously, it's so funny. You seem to resist, like, you resisted interior design, you resisted TV. Now you're resisting this. Like, it's clear to me that you can do anything. The only thing coming between you and anything is you.
Probably.
You have to be cajoled.
I think it's just the business of it. I mean, it's just the business of it. I wish I could read what these people are saying.
Okay,
well,
let's ask some people if they have some questions for you, because you are so fun. Everybody's telling you they love you and that you look great. And something about Harry Styles, look-alike. Mary, you're great with fashion, style, and interior design. See, I think we all kind of would love it. Loving the orange shirt. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, you're just one of those people. You're a style polymath. So we need, yes. People want you in South Florida. Do you have any more design programs? Oh, there's so much love. This is so
Carrie
great.
Doyle. Carrie Doyle. What's she
saying?
Carrie, what are you saying? What's Carrie saying?
Carrie's Carrie. Hold on, let me find her. And as you know, I went to school with Carrie.
I know.
Yeah, everybody wants you back on. Oh my God, so many comments.
I would do TV, but honestly, the things they ask you to do are like my mom would roll over in her grave. I mean, actually, my mother would roll over in her grave. Just me being me. She's so not like me. She's like a quiet, passive person.
Do you have other siblings?
I do. I have a brother.
Are they like you?
No, not at all. My brother is like an athletic guy that lives in Mammoth with his family and is a mountain, like natural guy. Yes, like he loves nature and not at all. Although my family was like me, my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, like they all were women that had style and different,
very cool,
like things that I grew up.
Sorry. Oh, not from there. Give it to me from the dining room. I don't want you on any social media ever. Hi guys. Come on in the dining room.
I mean, what is going on over there?
I gotta get this charger, and my kids.
I mean, I like how you've. Oh,
you don't have the plug. Yes.
I like how you've handled it.
It needs to be plugged in with the plug.
With your hand.
Hey, a mother bear does what a mother bear has to do.
I mean, look, the painting doesn't want to be on it either. You're so.
I just don't want him. I don't want him to be. Yeah, they don't have phones yet. My sons are 14, and we're, obviously we have to get them phones. This has become ridiculous. And all of their friends have phones, but I always say that's great. You can use their phones to call us. But I think the time has come. Where,
how long are you going to keep them? How long are you going to keep them home forever? Yes.
Well, they're on spring break.
Oh.
So they will go back next Monday.
I meant with no phones. If they have no phone.
I would love to, but I think I've got to. I mean, one of them's like 6 feet tall, and he still doesn't have a phone. I mean, not that height has anything to do with it, but it's just such a funny disconnect. But yeah, I will get them phones. I worry, social media.
You worry about them being Britney Speared?
Love Britney. I have a current love for Britney. I didn't love her so much when she came out because I was the wrong age. but now I love her. But yeah, I worry about impulse control and
Well,
photos.
yeah,
I worry
no,
about anything that can be captured on screen scares me. Thank you.
scares
Thank you.
it scares me too, and my neck. My neck's
You
terrible.
just need to lie down. Okay.
I look better lying down.
So besides the fashion thing that I'm going to force you into, you
Okay, well,
have
maybe
to
I'll
write
do
it. God, you got a lot to do. You can't lie down. You need to write another book like immediately. It's really kind of naughty of you to have put it off this long. It's been
I know,
10
but you know what?
years. It's
You know
been
what's
10
better?
years.
I know, but you know what's better? It's better having a great book and another great book because I really love my
Of
book.
course.
It's not like I love everything I ever did in my life. There's some things where I'm like, okay, that wasn't the best, or that was fine.
And
I got
everybody
through it.
feels that way.
I love my book. I still love my book. I think I don't like 2 pages in it where I needed something red, and I was like, okay, that's not like my best picture, but it
Oh
was
my God,
red.
I'm totally finding your book and finding it.
Yeah, well, you'll see. You'll be like, yeah, that's not your best. There's something orange, and I was like, that's not so great, but it's orange. So it's better to have a book you love,
Of course. And that's true of anything.
and have another book you love. Than
Anything that you put effort into should be done to the best of your ability, of course.
Instead of having a book because I'm supposed to have a book that's just, I don't know, like a few cups and flowers and
Yeah, I get it.
which some people it's more important to just be moving, whatever it is. I'd rather just have another fat book that's a decade apart.
Right. That has meat. That's all meat and no fluff.
Kind of. I mean, my book was really full of 300 pages of real pictures,
Awesome.
not like a stare. So I don't feel bad about that. I feel like that was
no,
right.
but I know that you've got plenty of meat to share, and I'd like to see it.
Well, thank you.
There. So shall we tell people about how you came over to my house for dinner in Southampton and walked into my father's living room and burst into tears?
Yes, but I didn't think it was even. I was like, this house still exists? That's so corny of me.
It was so cool because you had seen that, you knew that living room.
I didn't know that
it.
it's still alive, this house.
Oh God, we don't mess with the father's decorating.
It's one of my favorite all-time rooms. In fact, it's still on my inspiration board for my country house now. I'm like, where am I going to do that brown room that is like just basically copying that room? Like
now you're going to put a beautiful spin on it. Besides,
you tell them. You tell them.
Oh God, I'm so glad I have a charger now because I could just talk to you forever in this very disorganized way. So I'm sorry to keep beating a dead horse, but I'm going to do it one more time.
I love a dead horse.
Mood Boards XS says that you could do a curated capsule. So everybody's like so-and-so by so-and-so, like Yeezy for Adidas. It could be Mary McDonald for Balenciaga or for one of those.
Well, I love the sound of that. Could they call me?
Too.
Get them to call me?
Hey, Balenciaga. Somebody,
Balenciaga.
Everybody's 6 degrees of separation, right? So, or less. I think everyone hearing this, please help us hook Mary up with Balenciaga or Celine or
even something fun and light.
Like Uniqlo?
Well, I don't know if that's really my.
You're like too light.
No. I buy. You know what I buy at Uniqlo? Or I don't know. I probably don't even say it right. Is it Uniqlo? I always call it Uniqlo.
Oh,
tomato.
Okay. Well, it certainly has more flourish the way you say it.
Cheap puffy vests.
Mm-hmm.
They have good cheap puffy vests. And boy, are they cheap. Maybe something that was like I would do a jewelry line with J. Crew because they kept the capability.
I love J. Crew's jewelry. No.
I only
you could also
sometimes
do it with Lanvin. They have great jewelry.
I know, but they don't. I don't see that happening. If that, well, who knows? Do you know someone there that would really want me to do that?
I don't know. Even if I did know them, I'd have forgotten their name, so it doesn't matter. Okay, J. Crew. That we'll put that.
That's an attainable thing. But I love that idea. In fact, I wanted to actually. I don't even want to say what the idea is because
then don't.
Then someone will go do it, and then I'll be all mad, sitting here going like, "Wow, I said that."
That happens a lot though in life. They're
I've noticed.
definitely,
I've noticed.
yeah, there are definitely moments where I feel like I haven't, I've had a great idea and I've sat on it and then it's happened. And I'm like, you dummy. Why didn't you pursue it?
I have a lot of those, but some spiritual person, like I'm going to say this in some general realm, has said to me before, one of these spiritual teachers, that things just sit in the ethers. That's why we all get the idea.
Waiting for us, yeah,
Right? And that's
zeitgeist.
why the ideas come in kind of this collective consciousness, and it's
Yeah.
just waiting for the person to say, I'm going to try to make that happen. And that's sometimes I get the same things. I think this kind of needs to happen, and sooner or later I see someone doing it.
Yeah.
But
Tell me about your Schumacher collection, because it's wonderful.
I'm working on another one. So I've had two.
So what's your call to arms when you're designing for them?
They really let me do whatever I want. So
But how do you decide which thing is going to be the Mary McDonald Schumacher thing?
what I do is I pull things. It's not really based
Linear?
on, no, it's not linear. Actually, there are things that I've sold. Like actually one of my, I think I might be their their highest selling licensee. I think I can say that because it's true, so I'm not lying. Which could have changed, but
Right.
one of the fabrics that does sell that much, we do try to think, okay, well, this is still going strong, so we'll try to recolor that. So that stuff
Right.
is linear, like this is doing well, and then you've already been
Right. You've got some information that you're acting on.
I really love everything. I call it a gimmick, which I guess is derogatory, but I love a gimmick. I love a costume. I love a theme. I might decorate a certain way for myself.
So it's back to you wanting a uniform, wanting to be a nurse or a bride.
Yes! I love it.
Yeah.
People like certain kinds of interiors, and everything that isn't that, they're like, that's terrible. I was like, it's not terrible. It's just being modern and contemporary, and people are surprised that I can really appreciate such a vast.
Yeah, as long as it's beautiful, it's worthy of love.
Yes, like even an organic rock formation room that has a bunch of wood, natural edge, live edge furniture. Like if it's done really well, like Brad Ford does really good rooms like that.
I love his rooms.
It's so not me, but I'm always like, that looks so great. I'm gonna get my.
And you and I have had crush sessions on Stephen Sills.
Oh well.
On like.
How do you not love all that? I look at it and I
love all that.
Oh, I need to get rid of all my decorator layers, even though it's decorated. It's always about an architectural element, then a stone wall or plaster. Something is some technique. And I think, you know what? I'll never stop there and I'll just wreck it. So just let him be that. I can't be. Like, it's motivating though. It's motivating.
Okay, have fun at basketball.
Yay.
Bye. Sorry.
It's, we should start a new
It's my
club.
children.
That is hilarious. I never saw that.
Well,
it's good. How did I miss this on all the, did you ever do that before? I never saw this.
I think.
A couple times.
I don't know if I went full palm, but yeah, anyway.
Yes, Stephen Sills. Love Steve. But what was before Stephen Sills?
Well, just talking about like all the things that you love and all the designs and that you
design
for Schumacher and that you just, it's whatever comes to you.
I actually spend hours and hours and hours and hours looking through books and like surfing the internet. And over time, I save things that come up. They just come up on the internet. Like while you're doing things, they come up. I take a picture on my phone and it literally could be, I'd be shopping out somewhere and it could be someone else's fabric or an old rug. And I just take pictures of things and I throw them in folders. I don't even know
I do this too, and they're not in folders though. I need to spend like a week.
Well, then I spend
because I've got a bazillion screenshots of things that I've seen and loved.
Well, those are the hours. Then I go back. So just we are working right now on my collection for Schumacher, and it's like kind of a lot because we're going to do an outdoor collection and we're doing kind of a lot of SKUs in different things. So I try to keep them in groups. So Dara is really open to not, it doesn't all have to be in a similar category. So I have sort of a little arty group we're talking about doing that is a little more of a hand painted looking kind of thing, and some classic textiles based on sort of historic embroideries. Like, it's just things that I'm interested in. And then sometimes I don't want things to be too complicated because I do want it to sell. So like I'm looking at outdoor, just doing things that are pretty classic and usable instead of really going out there on a limb.
Yes. You want it to be sellable for sure.
Yes, and I don't really use a lot of wacky things.
And versatile.
And personal. So
no, and personal and versatile.
Oh, versatile.
Versatile.
I can hear you. Versatile. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, sweetie, couldn't hear you. I can't remember you, and I can't hear you.
I am trying to.
It's a lot of different things. In fact, I could make about 100 fabrics if I could just make everything I wanted, but you have to sort of just pick and choose.
Yeah, you do have to pick and choose. Oh gosh.
What else? Jewelry.
So many other things.
Life.
What aren't you doing that you wish you were? I mean, your one huge thing has to be doing your East Coast house. Is amazing.
I wish I'm not there right now because I'm trying to get things settled so I can go work on that. I wish I was working on that right this minute, which I plan to any day now, but I just haven't been able to leave LA right this second.
Right.
Probably what do I wish I was doing? I love to I like traveling. I mean, they aren't necessarily work things.
I know you do.
I
but
like
nothing
traveling.
Professionally, no major professional things that you just wish you had going on that you don't have going on?
Actually, I probably would want to be doing jewelry more than adding something to my interiors. Because I'm kind of doing that. I love anything textile. Oh, you know what? I would really love to do probably sheets. Bed linen and sheets. That is something I'm like, I should probably put and tabletop. I'd actually like to add
me too.
Tabletop.
I'm dying to do tabletop.
Tabletop.
But bed linen, bedding, you should, whoever else you might speak to, you should speak to Eastern accents because they're
Isn't that where you are?
That is where I am. And
is
Tom Felicia is also there.
Yes.
And so is Celery Kimball.
Oh, okay.
And they're great to work with. They too are just like, it's such a creative, you just are creating. So they're wonderful.
So technically, let me ask you this, because people that don't do licensing don't really understand. Do they help you with the artwork? Because it's so different how people work, or do you have to present it all art ready?
No. They help you. But you've got to have a notion of where you want to go.
Well, yeah.
They're very collaborative, and it becomes like a laboratory with them. It's super fun. And over quarantine, I would just call up Louise at Eastern Accents, or not even do this. I would FaceTime, and we would just do it all on the phone together. And it was fun.
Oh, now that you asked me that, I do also have a great idea, and I'm not going to say what it is.
No, because I'll steal it. No.
No, you're not going to steal it. I mean, go ahead and steal it, but
I'm not going to steal it. Go on.
I have a great idea for tile, bath tile.
Awesome.
That I know is like fantastic, but I just don't really want to just go be with anybody, and then I haven't done anything about it. I kind of only want to be with a few top tier.
I think it's nice to hold some of these things to the side to let them come out when they want to come out, even though that sounds so profoundly wishy-washy, which is an interesting oxymoron. But but when the time is right, profoundly wishy-washy. Yes. Anywho. Oh,
well,
wait.
I think you do. You can't push the river, as they say.
Do they say that?
How do you like that?
I like it a lot.
You can't. They those
They
people.
are everywhere, those they.
Yeah. You can't push the river. And if you think about it, you're like, oh, that makes
Hold on.
sense.
I think we've just hit the hour mark, and I hear
Oh.
somebody saying, "Mommy." Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, we need a part two because I could. Well, maybe part two is just the two of us because people are like, "What the hell are those two
That
Janes
involves
talking
you
about?"
and me and that tequila that I sent over.
Well,
Or
yes,
that
except I probably drank it during quarantine, and this year I am alcohol free. I'm doing
Oh,
20.
are you really?
I am.
Interesting. How's that working?
It's good. The goal is to lose the calories and to not, once you drink, you'll eat more. So all is well.
Oh, right.
It's a little, it's a little less
You-
fancy free, but it's fine.
Yeah, well, you don't need any social lubricant.
I sure don't.
You don't. So you're fine, I'm sure.
I'm fine. But we will continue this with tequila for you. Okay. Love
Okay.
you.
Okay, I'm going to let you go, Mommy.
And Mary, thank you so much. You are so much fun.
Oh, so are you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
All right.
All right. Kisses. Love you, oodles.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how do I?